You're good to go.
All right. Welcome back to M&A&D&D episode 120. Um,
Did we ever get a title?
yeah, the storm.
The Storm.
Uh, so kind of last where we left off. Waters Deep is just kind of crumbling down around itself as uh, the disease that is kind of encroaching upon the Sword Coast seems to have been concentrated here, um, and has left this once great city, one of the greatest cities of all the Sword Coast, just in shambles as um, it is decaying and crumbling. Um, you've managed to link up with the few remaining survivors, and you're uh, kind of just been tasked with this last gasp to forge through whatever remains of the city before it's abandoned for seemingly good. Um, there is a armada of airships that is accompanying you all, and you guys have kind of broken off into smaller groups in order to um, conduct these mini assaults on this ravaged city. And so, looks as though Val and company, small little armada of ships, went north to procure all the remaining fuel for the airships. Um, and he's uncovered some um, nefarious deeds afoot, as there seems to be some sort using the warehouses there as some sort of cover to pull forth these kind of decrepit beings. Um, and you've began to wage your little war with them. Uh, Further to the east, Liam was tasked with recovering some very important sages, as they uh, had the knowledge that was very, very important to the Sword Coast as far as um, magical aspects and secrets.
I got him.
Um, he's got them. They're not speaking to him at the moment. Um,
It's fine.
very much, very much dead, but also in his love sack. I believe he described it last week.
They're being quiet for the trip while we sneak through the town.
But you did manage with a pretty, I think, a pretty clever way to escape. You gave yourself bought some time by hopping into one of your portable holes and being able to give yourself time to cast the ability to determine or decipher all these languages, and we're able to decipher. Um, I wouldn't say like the spell, but the words to unlock uh, the tower that you're in, and so now you're kind of just standing, um, kind of this gaping hole on this tower as you look out across um, waters deep. Now, kind of free to move as you go, and then uh, towards the middle of waters deep, you find yourself, or no, I'm sorry. Um, Vamel and Valen have been, it's arguably a more important mission, um, extracting the remaining civilians that had been trying their hardest to survive in this city um, as it collapses. And kind of this brilliant plan by Vamos has been bottlenecking him through his magical yurt. I believe he described it as. Um, and so he's yurting them right through as they're able to magically detect whether or not they're infected with whatever it is that's kind of um, taking over these individuals. And he's already successfully helped about 3 or 4 of these airships load up with people. Um, and then further south, we have the Brawlers, who had attempted to um, locate what was believed the information was given that they were going to people were moving weaponry and magical goods and stuff towards the water docks to move these maybe to help uh, you know arm the war that was coming. Um, in Ashton and Darfares, what they found is that um, what was really happening was all this armor and weaponry was being smelted. This large brick thing. I don't remember what I called it. And
The armory.
yeah, the armory. And so when they infiltrated the armory, it wasn't really an infiltration. They kicked down the door, and then they found themselves with two brooding beasts that were ready for a fight, and um, they are in the midst of a battle. And so we're gonna kind of go ahead and pick up from there. And is anybody hearing the music?
I was hearing it earlier. I'm not hearing it right now.
I'm not hearing anything.
Okay, there.
I hear it now.
I'm starting to hear it now.
Hmm?
I'm starting to hear it a little bit now.
There you go.
I hear it.
Okay. So I believe. So just kind of, where had you left off, Val?
For me,
You had shot Horizon's, or Hero shares your sword. You had kind of opened up a portal, and
oh, I decapitated a motherfucker by opening a plane to another to the astral sea through his neck.
and which one of the beings was it?
That was the first summon.
This first summoned thing. Okay.
No, the summoner, not the.
Oh, the summoner. Okay.
The first summoner.
All right. So
I had cast silence on him, so he could no longer speak, and then did that.
So, with just this kind of you see the head just kind of like, and then just I don't know, disappear into nothingness, just like as it slid into non-existence. And you just hear this like this dragging of this foot. As that disgusting creature just it's still alive, correct?
Yeah, should be.
Yeah, as it kind of just like starts to move its gaze towards you. Gaze.
Oh, it's a problem when I say it, but it's not a problem when Viva says it. I see how it is.
Is gaze, I believe, is the French term for that. This creature just stumbles its way towards you.
Did you already
loot?
Did you take its jaw, David?
No, it came out like that.
And so you still have another attack. So
Okay. How far away? I mean, theater on this.
yeah, I would say like you're within 7 feet of it. Wait, no. Yeah. Yes.
Is it? Oh, that guy's gone. Seeing this shambling toupee-looking motherfucker coming with his jaw quite literally on the floor, I will
He was as surprised about you that the capital position as everybody else was.
So I will, seeing as it's undead, so it looks doesn't have a jaw. It looks undead. I'm not the best at magics, but I will try what I can. I'm trying to make this flavorful, so I'm looking at what I have.
Viva, did you look up the origin of this monster by chance? Just do a quick Google search. He'll make you giggle immediately.
All right.
Huh. All right. I'll see if I can flavor this way. I'm going to cast protection from good and evil, and I'm going to try and we'll pretend that I poked my blade in this magic, and I'll use that to help banish whatever magic is trying to hold together this corpse.
All right. Let's see here. So,
And I'll try to suss out the core of what is holding this thing together, and I'll aim for that.
okay.
Are you looking for rolls of any kind?
Yeah, I have because this is a spell, correct?
It's a spell, but it definitely doesn't do what I'd said it does. like, I was trying to be flavorful. Like it doesn't do that. The component includes holy water, so I was essentially just pouring holy water on my blade.
Yeah, it's definitely not offensive.
It's not an offensive spell. I was just like, it's kind of the only thing that I have that kind of deals with something related to the undead. Everything else that I have is I'm sneaky. That's not what I'm doing now.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Okay. So I'll use that, and then I guess I'll just attack. Hit.
An 18 does indeed hit.
You mean that's 7? Yep. For a total of 20.
All right.
And so I'll have the blade kind of shimmer with that inky darkness, and I'll see if I can find the core of this thing, pierce it.
Okay. That's 21 damage. Can you roll 1d3, please?
Ow.
Got a 2.
And so, as you slice it and you kind of rip across his chest, where your blade had ripped through, you also kind of see, much like steel wool being lit on fire, these little like points of ignition all around that cut. Do you have any additional attacks?
between the attack that I made on the other guy, this one, and then the spell that I definitely cast, that's not what it does. That was supposed to be an action. No, I don't.
Okay.
I think I've used up everything.
And so as this kind of ignites, there's just this smell of sulfur as the corpse, this walking corpse in front of you, disappears. And you start to hear this kind of slurping noise from behind you, and I need you to do a save against
DC 12.
DC 12.
Charisma.
Charisma save. I'm real good at these. My big ol' +0.
All right. So you kind of turn around when you start to hear that noise, and you're able to kind of shield your mind from whatever it is that it's attempting to do, as this tendril that pulls out from its mouth, like this long tongue, whips at you, and you're able to dodge that. I'm gonna go ahead and give you another turn.
So do I see the thing that attempted to fear me, or is this the same creature?
This is the same creature, but it teleported behind you, so now it is. I would say a little bit closer. Now it's like 3 feet behind you.
Can I use my bonus action to try and catch the tongue and then slice it off?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Let's go.
Nice move.
I'll do an acrobatics roll to see if I can grab it. With a 25.
Oh yeah.
So I'll grab it with one hand, the sword, slice it off, turn it around, and then I'll take my attacks. So I've used my bonus action.
I will also say he couldn't be feared anyways because of his spell he did cast on his sword.
Nice.
Thanks for that.
I would roll with advantage.
Okay, so here's the second roll for that one, and then I'll roll for advantage for my second attack. All right, so 24 for the first attack.
Mm-hmm.
Beat. It's 24 damage.
All right, let's hear it.
It's 4.
So just like in a split second, you grab its tongue.
Yes. So it's a split second. Grab the tongue, sever that, and then take the second attack as I'm turning around to do a. I'll lunge, try and cleave the body, like shoulder to rib cage.
And it's your blade in the rib cage?
Yeah, it'll be my attack. That'd be my sword.
Yeah. All right. So it just, like, after you cut this tongue, it just kind of spews this nasty green, like, bile just starts kind of pouring out, and it starts to kind of like cover you in it as you whip around and you drive that sword into it. And as you kind of hit it, the entrails just collapse out onto the floor. There's just kind of like this rotten. Unfortunately, I don't see any other The only other one is not around. Isn't
Oh.
a full corpse.
Gotcha.
And so it just kind of collapsed under its own weight.
David accidentally saved himself.
And then you start hearing this. Earlier, there was all these different instances in which those symbols that had been etched in the ground by the original enchanter had started to like sparkle or sound like sparklers being lit, and now you're hearing the sounds from, and you can tell they're from the directions to which that you had already kind of placed them in your mind mentally. And off in the distance, you start to hear a little bit more shuffling. You're in this warehouse, surrounded by giant boxing crates. You had previously been up in the lattice. That particular emblem that had pulled for this piece remains like just this chalky or charcoal outline on the ground, no longer active.
I will make sure to disrupt whatever symbol it is. I don't need to fully destroy it, but at least disrupt it to make sure that it's not going to be able to be activated by any kind of means.
Okay. So kind of
It's like
just
use my foot to like kind of smear it or something.
Yeah, just as simple as kicking it and smudging it, corners of it. You wipe it away. But again, you just start to hear that in different locations.
Real quick, the corpse that I just took out, you said it had like ichor kind of like falling from it, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna use an empty potion bottle, and I'll gather some of that really quick, and then I will have I grabbed the fuel sources that are here, or was I not able to get to that quite yet?
No, you had managed, like your team had managed to gather, I think we said about 80% of it. Now this warehouse, again, kind of full of these big wooden crates, and then, maybe it looks like spread amongst this building, you had seen at least 10 barrels. In fact, as you're kind of taking a glance around, you see this outstretched hand pull from around one side of the crates, and he rests his hand on top of one of the barrels as he kind of pulls himself out and around, and he's got this tongue kind of wagging as he starts to look around and survey the area. And then off to your left, you see from another corner, you kind of hear that same dragging. The lights that had been behind them, and it had been been illuminated by those symbols, they all start to those lights kind of dim down as like those glyphs, their use waning, and you start to hear again these shuffling, and another one kind of pulls himself around a corner into the larger area that you're at. They're still probably 30 feet away from you. You're not really detected by them as they stagger their way through this warehouse.
Okay. I will, if I have the means to. You said there was one by the crates that I'm looking for, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to have, if it doesn't see me quite yet, I'm going to summon my echo behind it, swap with my echo, and then with the two swords, kind of like Count Dooku style,
Okay.
from behind.
All right.
Anakin to Count Dooku, yeah.
Sorry, Anakin to Count Dooku.
All right. So just like a genocidal maniac, you teleport.
I have a
Alright,
job
yeah,
to do. So I'll take this one out. Do you need me to roll for it?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, just roll your
So
damage.
um,
Oh yeah.
Both attacks.
Yeah.
12 damage. Okay. And once that thing's down, I am going to take as much of the fuel source as I can, and I'm going to shove it into the bag of holding.
Okay.
And are the creatures, are they seemingly like searching for me, or are they seemingly like looking for something in this area that's like not me? Like, are they looking for like an item, or like are they does it seem like they're looking to like perform a task or something versus just like randomly patrolling and wandering?
This is, I would say, kind of slower, but like when a new swarm of frogs like emerge from the from the waters, and it's chaotic. They don't know what they're doing, and they seem hungry, but there's no really bit of direction, and it's kind of this directionless horde is starting to emerge from wherever it is that they were being summoned. Um, but no, you don't see any direction towards them. You're able to grab 2 barrels that you're able to put in here. So it said there was maybe 15. Did I say 10 or 15? But it don't. You're looking around. You don't really see a quick and easy way to gather up all the remaining fuel at this point.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to decide if I need to get out of here, if I need to clear out the rest of these things, or could light the fuel on fire. Sure. Yes, thank you, Emily. That was not Astrid. That was just Emily. Just like, yeah, just fucking blow it up. Yeah, I currently do not have any other sneaky ways of getting fuel out of here because I can only fit so much into the bag of holding at this point. So I'm going to start. I'm going to try and stealth and then try and see if I can find the source of what is bringing these things over to this plane.
Well, I'll help you out with that one because it was the enchanter.
Was it just the one guy?
Yeah, who's now a foot shorter than he used to be.
He's now 2 guys.
Yeah. And the unfortunate thing trying to stealth right now is because you found yourself kind of at the end of an aisle towards like the northern part of this warehouse, and your main exit being kind of like on the southwest corner, and those big old huge kind of doors that you're able to take large machinery through.
Okay, so if I can't get the rest of this out, I might actually do what Emily said.
Gotta blow that shit up, man.
So if this is a situation of we've grabbed what we can, and we don't want resources just fall into whatever else's hands there may be. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use from my components pouch some of the just like the general components of like gunpowder, and essentially create a delayed fuse, and then set it next to the the fuel sources that's being left over, and then I'll go to the back wall of the warehouse, and I'll use my etherealness ability to just walk through the wall,
Okay.
and then I'll leave the explosives in there. The idea is I want to see if I can't leave enough time to get around to the front to kind of close the door and make sure all of the things stay inside and just let them get exploded.
Yeah.
If they're
So
just shambling around.
let me get a DC check. Yeah, just roll a D20.
A second, let me put. Probably. Okay, so there's that thing for prosperity, and just a general D20.
Yeah.
Yeah, 12.
Okay. So you kind of look around. You start getting all your crafting materials out, and you leave, like you said, kind of that delayed fuse, and you go to light it, and unfortunately it starts to make a little bit more noise, and you start to hear this that same that you
Oh,
had
perfect.
earlier.
So they're walking towards the thing that's about to explode.
And so, yeah, so
I'm still
then-
going
and then
out the
you-
wall behind them.
you maybe even get a hint of sulfur
So
as you have
doubles.
your back towards the wall, and then you feel a hand on your shoulder right before you step through the wall itself, and you find yourself kind of like in this big open area. You're now on the dock. Previously it had been, the sun high above you, but now seems like these clouds have been kind of rolling in, and the entirety of this coastline is kind of starting to is draped in shadows, and you start to hear this like banging and thudding up against the wall as you make your way around the corner and start heading south to those big open gates. And what happens when you get to the open dock doors?
If there are no other of these creatures in sight, and they're hopefully all towards the back where the fuse is being lit, Val's gonna try and just close the gate, lock it.
All right, you
Maul it.
start to close it shut, and just that last bit of these doors kind of closing from one side. It has this high-pitched squeaking noise of this rusting mechanics on
Yep,
the top
there's
of
no
the door.
WD-40 in Baldur's or in Waterdeep.
And you start hearing that same popping noise as you shut the door behind you. You have a little bit of time. I guess describe to me what happens next.
So Val will shut the door, and then
Are you walking or running away from this explosion?
very much running away from it.
All right.
Do you look at the explosion?
He pulls out some sunglasses.
So you just start running towards. The
I'll run
coastline.
I'll run back towards the airship, try to go and meet up. I don't know about other people, but I know that I was here with a team, and so I'm going to try and go check on the rest of them, since none of the setup was that I was here by at this warehouse by myself, and
Mhm.
everybody else was in other parts of
Right.
the district. So I will go back to either where our
Oh no! Hold
airship
on.
is moored, or
we're missing. You still got your broom, right?
I do have my.
Okay. So
Unless
you
you
had
broke it.
been at the largest. You had been at the largest warehouse on the northern side. It kind of sat the closest to the airship dock, and you start on a dead-on sprint towards the cliff. As you reach the edge of it, there's just this fireball, this explosion, as the entirety of the warehouse, and you dive off the edge of the cliff, to which you grab your.
I
This is your running away from an exploding building moment. And you start to kind of fly up above into the air where the remaining of the ships had begun started to circle around. Once you finally dock onto the ship airship you had been on, they all kind of just like gazing over the edge at this huge explosion. And then just kind of laughing behind the steering wheel of the ship is one of your favorite pals. Yeah, Arendor.
Arendor, the
Yeah.
Kinku, the navigator. He's
Yeah,
just
it's just kind of cracking up as you and all the rest of the airships kind of start to move back towards the southern side of the dock. All right.
word.
So after this, we had the civilians, correct? Okay. So now this is Valen.
Hmm.
So you had been helping coordinate the rotation of all the airships.
Okay.
Vamel had been on the ground, kind of directing a lot of the movement on the ground as far as building these kind of barricades
Uh-huh.
and these walls that they can bottleneck them through the yurt. And you had been helping coordinate the rotation of the ships as they would go in. They would try to take as many as they can out, and that's when you notice that there's this like across the waters behind you starts to roll in this storm, and it starts to kind of just pull itself into the Sword Coast and starts to cover up Waters Deep. And
Wait, thorn as in the plants thorn? Like the roses?
no, I said storm.
Oh, storm. Okay, sorry.
And their head so the storm starts rolling in, and you start to see that some of those airships that had previously been able to rescue a handful of those individuals and stuff, they're sitting off that coast behind you. They're above, kind of high above, but you see their airships really start to rock and get kind of tossed around as this storm starts to roll in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you start to hear this like screeching and this crying come from the city around it, because like you said, you guys are in this giant green belt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And lining it are these 3-story 4-story buildings where everybody had kind of previously just kind of crawled their way out of in order to get in line for this. But then you start to hear these screams, this kind of horrific demonic screams. It seems as though now that the storm's rolling in, something's awakening, and you've lost the cover of sunlight that had kept them at bay. And so you kind of assess the situation. You have your people on the grounds. You have your companion Vamel, who's still maintaining the yurt, and you have maybe 6 airships at your disposal.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? What actions would you like to take?
Okay. So can I detect where the monster might be coming from?
This is coming from all around, like essentially kind of all around through every street and alley and rooftop.
Okay, so
and-
basically the monsters are waking up because the night is coming, and then we're losing the sunlight, and now they are coming out to hunt, and we need to find a way to push them back. In that case, oh, let me see. And the people are still coming in from the cities and trying to get on the board, trying to get on ships, right?
Yeah, and it's unfortunately a little bit of a slower process because it's really just one point of entry. We're
Mhm.
going through the yurt, and then there are some people who are a little more skeptical of the yurt, and they continue to kind of slow down the process a little bit. Once they're through, they're checking. They're actually using these monocles to check each individual. They're getting a little bit more laxed, right? Because after several, hundred of
Mhm.
individuals that have come through this magical metal detector, uh, they're they're getting a little bit more relaxed with this, as there has not been any infiltration so far, but there is still kind of a slow process, and it looks like maybe an additional um, like 150 200 people still
150, 200 people. Hmm. Okay. Um. So what I should focus on is trying to block the. Okay. Would it be possible if I cast the ice storms to block off all the entrance from the side streets, like the alleyways, to block those alleyways to where people are lining up to trying to get into the ships?
um so what is the cone on something like that?
It would be, let me see the
15 30
size.
feet, so we're talking about miles here.
Oh god, and that's in a way. Then
It only lasts for so long too, so it's like only like
yeah, I
instantaneous.
know. Yeah, I know. So there's no it will only be for last minute like quick reaction kind of strategies. But we're talking about hundreds of people. That's not big enough. Let me then. I don't know. I honestly don't, because I don't have a spells that strong that can cover a massive territories that to help facilitate the people's movement.
Okay, so one of the airship kind of pulls up next to yours that you're on, and kind of lining the deck of it are several half elves who have their bows drawn as they are kind of all looking over the edge of the bows and stuff, so that they're trying to detect like where's it coming from.
Okay.
and and again you look around, and there's a remaining like maybe 6 ships.
Mhm. Wait.
And so one of the people that was helping on your ship kind of looks to you, for direction. What is it that you can, just kind of desperately like pleading to you, like, what should we do? What should
I
we
would
do?
say star. Okay. Okay, then I would tell them start setting up a perimeter near around the bottleneck where people are coming in, and use magic detections or use any kind of detections to see if there are any monsters that are approaching to our position and trying to overrun us. If anything of that happened, alert me and I can cast web or ice storm to at least slow down their approach, while my teammates can help taking them down while I'm slowing them down. They can defeat them while I'm slowing them down. That's
Okay.
the suggestion I would give them.
Okay, so 3 of the ships go past the yurt. 1 on the left and 1 on the right, and
Mhm.
then 1 like kind of further at the end, the back of this line of individuals that are trying to get through, and they post up there. Well, the remaining 3 start to really kind of hover lower so that they can assist with giving everybody out. They're all now on high alert as they are watching this kind of like blob of people. They've lost, there's a little bit more chaos to them as they start hearing this yelling, and now there's almost this like stampeding sound that's echoing throughout all the streets.
Mhm.
And so they're on high alert as they're just have their bows drawn, and you see some spellcasters who are just kind of like throwing down, like you said, sheets of ice towards different pathways and stuff, like in between trees and on some of the walking paths that had led into the green belt.
Mhm.
And then Vamel is on the ground, seeing the storm roll in, seeing these ships start to position themselves in this way. What it is it that you're wanting to do?
Again, the main thing will be to get people to safety. I've already cast my big spell, which I still think is one of my best calls.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
but if I have to, if the sun goes out, he will start crashing his shield and his mace together. And I will add another spell just to be a dick. I will cast Sunbeam at the storm.
Okay. It is.
I'll display. There you go.
Yeah, it's
It's more thematic, and I understand it. I'm fine with wasting a level 6 spell to be thematic.
okay.
But he literally is trying to fight a storm. Like, well, there's no spell that I can do that with, but he would call forth his, Bahamut and call forth the gods, and this is his way of doing it.
Okay. So, on what side of the year is this going to be on? Is it going to be on their side?
The side where if there's still people coming in,
Uh-huh.
he's trying to keep the people safe. That is his priority.
And they're fine to it, right? They don't take any damage on it. Oh, they would. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to go up and shoot it at the clouds. But you're right. It was anyone who's hit takes the radiant damage, which I did not know. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you save that because I just think.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work quite. I was thinking it was just sunlight. Oh well.
Yeah, sunlight, very different.
Yep.
Spell.
Then sunbeam. Yep.
This one is
Yep.
I'm shooting a laser beam at you. Sunlight
Yeah.
is sunlight.
Yep. No. So
Still very good.
yeah, I was looking for something that was thematic. I may not have anything that I can do then, in that sense, except he'll go to meet the storm. Can I do an Arcana check to see is the storm magical or not?
Yeah.
Or nature?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Nature or Arcana? Which one?
Arcana.
Okay.
I would say so. You're very skeptical that any coincidence of nature would so rightfully suit this plague that has kind of befallen Waters Deep, but unfortunately, even as big as stature as you have, you are just standing, you know, you look tiny standing in the face of this kind of these bellowing clouds that are starting to, flood over the coastline here.
Then he will move to engage because I like the fact that we make his dispel magic be hand to hand, and I'm perfectly fine with that. He followed Tempest for a while. God of Storms. He will go meet this storm head on, which is perhaps the most Goliath goddamn thing he can do.
Wait, he's actually going toward the storm?
Yep.
Holy cow.
All right.
All right, man.
Are you taking an airship to it, or are you just gonna go march your way towards?
I'm going to march my way to it. I will become the bastion against the darkness.
Okay. All right. So you start heading back towards the coastline, and as it seems as though like a breaking wave right there, where you just turn around and Valen, you turn around and you just see, as the rain starts to kind of like fall down, and it's like this curtain of water that starts to shower the coastline, and it seems as though this giant wave breaks right as your Goliath friend stands to meet it.
Mhm.
You hear the panic of the crowd as you look back towards the city, and you start to see these creatures and these like shadows and things start to creep from all the corners of the city, and it's like almost as if another tidal wave is breaking as they hit the street and they start running rickshaw through the alleys and the streets.
Is there
towards-
any big solid objects near around me?
No, you guys are in a big
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 playing
old-
field, right? Like
yeah.
in a wide open. In that case, I'm gonna cast. I guess there's no way to. There's no. We have to protect them from both ends. So in that case, I will cast polymorph into. I don't want to, but if the crowd seeing it, okay, then I'm gonna run toward the other end of the crowd, like the opposite the direction of the crowd, where they coming toward the airship. I'm gonna run.
You're on an airship. Remember that.
Oh, I'm on the airship. Then in that case, God, there's. Do I control the airship? Can I order it to land?
Yeah,
Then I.
sure. And so really, like, it seems as though the chaos is coming from like this, right?
Mhm.
And then I
Yeah.
would say, just so like this is the circling. Oh, that's the same color.
It defaults to your color.
This is the circling of the people, and then this is the barricades that they had kind of set up,
Yep.
and then I would say like this is the magical yurt.
I really enjoy Miva's whale so far.
And the
then
monsters are coming from like all these directions, right?
the blue lines, and then you have airship right here, airship right here, airship right here.
Okay. In that case, I will request the captain of the airship's realm and then have me basically drop me with a cable or something so I can land on the ground, and I'm gonna run toward against the crowd to the back of the crowd, and I'm gonna use polymorph and turn into a T-Rex.
He's been
All
waiting
right.
for this, I feel.
All right. So you've made it your way to here, and you turn into a
Yes,
T-Rex.
T-Rex.
All right. So at this point, we find Astrid and Darfarius, Jaeger Darfarius, bumping knuckles there in the armory. And Astrid,
Yep.
again, just to kind of, you're in this cylindrical room with this giant kind of hole in the ground that's this just like blazing ball of lava as you just see this kind of pile. Again, there's this pile of armor and weaponry that are just kind of continue to crumple and smolder back into this. As you hear this, always this bloop, bloop, bloop. And you're in the midst of this fight with these two Umber Hulks. There had been this chittering and chattering up above you as this giant armory kind of just continues up into the air, and you had seen these like almost looks like sparkling, twinkling lights above you, and you get an attack.
I can. 21. That's the one.
Okay, and I believe that hit. Sure does.
Did you do your save against the gaze?
You always phrase it like that.
GAZE.
Is it a charisma save?
It was a charisma.
It's always a charisma save, yeah. And it's an innate ability of theirs. It's not like a thing that they're actively doing.
Oh no, that's
Damn it.
that's not gonna do it.
It's a 15, isn't it?
Emily, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to ruin you. I'm just trying to be fair. It's the things.
Okay. Then I have to roll like
A D8.
D6.
A D8.
D8.
Yeah. And then Viva has a list of things that happen based on what the result is. I don't remember. I think 1 through
Alright,
4 was
I'll-
a nothing happens.
You do nothing. Creature does nothing.
Good.
I'm sorry.
Okay. It would have helped if I had rolled better. I have a plus 11. So.
Just tell David never to touch your keyboard again.
David
All right.
hasn't touched her keyboard.
This would
Alright.
be the end of your turn.
Yeah.
Dang,
Yeah, I didn't
okay.
save, so cancel out that hit.
All right, Darfarius.
All right, we'll get some.
He also has to roll then.
Yeah, just go ahead and roll your charisma save. Is that sight based?
It's
by the
sight
way?
based, yeah. So if you avert your eyes, you can avoid it.
Okay.
Charisma save. Does he have any?
But then you roll.
He's near Astrid,
Blinded?
so
No danger sense.
Yeah, he'll get +3 to that roll.
All right. And then +3 to that, so 17.
All right, you save.
As one does, in a
Beat
fit
the
of
shit out of him,
rage,
I guess.
he's gonna beat the shit out of them. He'll roll with advantage for frenzy attacks.
Thank you.
24 plus 3 for rage. Is this not adding rage?
yeah, I think you have to toggle it from D&D Beyond.
Rage, there it is. Okay. I had to expand the options in it. All right, cool. So that was the first hit. Second hit.
Uh-huh. All right, so a total of 40. Uh,
You got a third hit.
Bonus action
it's,
attack.
I would stop
So
you there.
stupid.
You
To
shouldn't.
let you know. Okay. All right.
If the first one's dead, he's going for the other one.
So the first one with the first two attacks, you just crack it across the chin, and his mandible goes flinging out. And then, in a fit of rage, you thrust your fist into its chest, and it cracks open like a nut, and just like all this kind of black ooze falls out of it. And then you turn your rage to the one that had been attacking
From
Astrid.
behind the one that was attacking Astrid, he'll jump over the top and whack it on
Lord.
the head with a crit.
All right.
Jesus Christ. For 42
Wait.
damage.
Wait,
That's so
That's the
much.
crit.
Yeah. Did it add the rage too? Yeah.
Yeah.
15.
So you
Yeah.
crack it, and again, like part of its face just crumples, and it's just got this like one, multi-lensed eye and a mandible that's just moving, as the other one is just this, demolished appendage on its now smashed face, as it staggers, and I believe.
I'm just gonna say on that crit, Darth probably hears like a subtle chuckle and a yes from the hammer,
Yeah.
because the hammer is a sentient natural evil great maul.
God, that was sentient.
He just like shivers a little in his.
Lord.
With it semi-incapacitated now, Astrid, I'm going to give you an opportunity to attack.
Okay. Try again. Is it the beginning of my turn again?
Yeah.
Would I roll again?
If you can avert your eyes, you can avoid having to do
charisma?
it.
Yeah.
Well, it no longer has the ability to do it with its.
Darth smashed in half of its face, so
Oh.
Yeah.
the thing that it is trying to look at you with is not.
Because
able
I
to
have
look
I
at
have
you.
Okay. I have a different way I was.
It has an alluring gaze. Yeah, so it makes you confused.
I have yeah. So if I avert my eyes from the gaze, that means I roll with disadvantage, but it'll be fine.
Yeah. So you kind of turn your face now down. You had just heard that horrible smacking noise. You see, just like where like just below its arms, this torso leads into its waist, and these bulky legs, and it's kind of being backlit by, again, that smoldering pit behind it. Not smoldering, but that the smelting pit behind it. Go ahead. All right.
17.
That just barely hits.
Fuck yeah. 14 on the first hit.
Yours was a 24. Let's hear it.
Oh, damn.
He did
Oh, yeah.
24.
Yeah, it did 42 damage last round.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair. I guess since taking advantage of Darf's just absolutely eviscerating it, she'll just kind of take her glaive, and since it's not a tiny creature, even though she's not looking, like, Astrid will just take and just go swing straight for, like, kind of, because I think it looks like a bug, so like she'll swing, kind of aiming for like the in between, like the plate, the exoskeleton, to hopefully like just get right in there and mess something up. Just
just-
like all the weight.
Yeah, it just buckles as again, like the right side of his face has this, cracked and smashed in, and now you hit it across one of whatever rib cage this thing might have, as it buckles
Yeah, I was like,
up,
there's no rib cage because it's.
and it staggers backwards as it kind of slips. This back foot slips across the edge of the smoldering pit and just plummets,
Oh heck yeah!
right into this bubbling cauldron as it just ignites all around it as it seeps down into the smelted irons. And that's when you start to hear like these screeches, and you look up above you and you start to hear like this clawing as all that sparkling lights above you start to etch their way down frantically. What is it that you and Darth are going to do?
It. Well, we can't recover any of these. I've just like, there's no way we're recovering these weapons. They're all being melted down.
Wait,
like
we're not allowed to, as Darth has his hands like on a pile of molten metal.
we can if you really feel like it, but it's not going to be useful. I guess we could toss the other body in the fire. I mean, that would make me the most upset.
What am I supposed to do with
Darth's
this?
already, Darth's already rolling it over
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
like a dung beetle. Rolls this giant Umber Hulk into the smoldering cauldron, but the encroaching
He crit rolls his strength check.
Ridiculous.
the encroaching swarm above you starts to kind of like deafen. There is not much time before you're overwhelmed with whatever had been nesting at the top of this armory.
Okay, so how big is this room again?
30
Like
square
from-
feet? No, yeah.
I guess my question is like from where we're standing to the exit.
I would say 15 feet.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So
it
then
wasn't
I'm gonna use.
huge because you guys just kind of walked in and it got into a fight.
Yeah. So I'm gonna use. Where did it go? Oh. My freaking Eyes of the Dark. To cast the darkness spell with sorcery points. That way I can see in darkness. To give us cover. And hopefully.
Okay.
Ah, fuck! Who turned out the lights?
No, doesn't Darth can't? Okay, I know he said.
No,
It's
it's magical
darkness, so
darkness.
his goggles don't work.
Okay, his goggles don't work. Okay, 'cause I know his goggles were like a MacGuffin for whatever he wanted last time. He was like, my goggles do that. Like, no.
So I'll
Darth
cast
and
that.
Darth both don't know any difference between what their magical items do and don't do. So it doesn't really change anything. They're like, I'm definitely seeing better now. And I'm like, you
I actually thought
have the lens cap on again. Like, it's just,
that he's been wearing them so long that maybe we should say when he finally takes them off, his vision improves because they've been slowly damaging his eyes. All right, so you kind of cast this.
Take off his
No.
goggles. He's just cross-eyed.
you're no longer able to see even the smoldering pit.
Okay. Yeah.
But the chattering continues, and you can now see more clearly above you the thousands of insect-like creatures that are
Ooh,
crawling down.
gross. Okay. Darf, you happen to have like any sort of
Magic? No.
explosive in your bag?
What bag?
Right.
No, the bag carries me.
You just
Oh,
seem
you
like
mean
the
my
type of
home?
individual that would have explosive.
No, I have meat. And ale. And a hammer.
Mm, Then,
Sometimes pants, but not often.
all right, let's get out of here. I'm gonna grab him since I can see.
Whoa, now consent? Consent?
I'm gonna continue to. I'm just gonna grab him just by the collar and just drag him out. And then once we're out, once we're out, if we get out, I guess is the.
Yeah, you're out now. You're now outside of the armory. You're
You're the one with fireball.
a
I
couple
don't have-
remaining airships.
I will shut the door, but I need this. We gotta burn the bug. I don't. I don't have any good arson materials.
As you shout that out, one of the hovering airship, someone says, shouts back down to you, like, "Oh, we can help you." And they grab, they kind of back the airship kind of closer to it, and they start using one of the barrels of fuel, and they just start dripping it down, like pouring it down towards the entrance door.
Perfect. Since I have a fuel source, that means hopefully I can use firebolt to ignite it.
Right, so the airship, knowing about what's about to happen, starts to pull closer to the dock, and
the range is 120 feet, so I'll stand like at.
you just hear the door, and it starts to. You hear like the creaking of the wood as all the thousands of insectoids behind it start to push on the door.
As soon as I get far enough away that I know I won't also ignite, and Darf won't ignite, I'm gonna roll for fire. I'm gonna shoot off a firebolt at the ignite source.
All right, and you just hear this explosion, and then all of a sudden the door bursts open, and this kindling inside made of this insectoid bodies inside of this giant cylindrical being just poof, 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 and then straight off the top it blows the top off of it, and this just giant fireball launches into the sky.
Perfect.
Liam, all the way on the northern side of the tower, creeping outside of the magical tower, he just sees.
I was going to say double explosions.
He just sees the northern coast explode, and then to the south, he sees this giant fireball shoot hundreds of feet up into the sky, as it like gets engulfed by this storm that's been slowly moving in, and it just lights up all this cloud, almost like this atomic bomb, as it refracts off all the clouds. Darfarius
Very satisfying.
and Astrid hop into the airships as they start to pull north towards the green belt. Liam, you're now free from the tower, and you're a bit concerned because you hear this stampeding and like these high-pitched screams, but they are south of you. They've already run past your position. And I would say, you hear the stampeding, but it's a mile, 2 miles south of you.
Do I remember how we were supposed to get in contact with our ride out of here?
No, but I imagine you can. So you can essentially see it from here. It's hovering.
Okay, how
So
far
have you-
away is it from me to the top of the building that I left my helper invisible on?
Thrune is probably about a mile away.
All right, I'll start making my way to silently through the streets to him. He has invisibility for an hour. I don't think we've been an hour yet. I think I did at least 2 actions that were 10 minutes and probably 10 minutes of inside the thing. So whatever the time it took me in there plus 30 minutes to get to the tower plus 30 minutes. Does that make sense?
Right. Uh-huh.
So I would say like I can probably make it back in time before invisibility comes up because I've not switched concentration spells.
Right, but you said it took 30 minutes to get there, so...
No, I said I spent 30 minutes inside the tower. Like 10 minutes to get in, 10 minutes to cast another spell, and then and then probably 10 minutes of spoiling inside. I don't think it took me 30 minutes to get...
I don't believe he's going to be invisible any longer by the time you get back to him.
Alright, so once...
But I guess as you approach, as stealthily as possible, you do find him where you had left him.
Okay.
Still kind of huddled over, and he's just peeking over the edge, kind of unaware that you've made your way to the top of this building that he's been hiding in.
What is Thrune?
Thrune.
How big is he?
He is a dwarf.
Okay.
He's very tall for a dwarf.
Whatever makes you feel comfortable, Viva.
Very tall dwarf.
No worries. All right. So in that case, I will go ahead and say, Thrune.
Hey, Jesus Christ!
Shh. We're gonna go. I have I got sort of stages where they were not still with us. I brought their bodies back so we can put them to rest somewhere else. But looks like our job here is done. So I'll get us to the ship.
I'll signal them. Thank God you arrived. You should have seen the horde.
Oh, there's no reason to signal. You could just tell them we're on our way to them.
Yeah, signal him.
So
And he lights.
nope, don't do that.
It's too late. He did it. And so this one little red ember goes flying up into the sky. And then as it starts to kind of drift down, you see that there's on top of other buildings, you just see these kind of figures that are just standing there and like...
Thrune?
No,
Hold on.
No, I get it now.
I'm gonna grab him, and we're gonna dimension door 500 feet in the direction of the ship, and we'll worry about the fall on the way down. But I'm gonna hold on to him.
All right. So they hadn't been. Well,
That was from my cloak.
500 feet.
If we can't reach it, that's fine. I'm gonna cast fly myself.
Okay, I think you can get pretty close, but I don't know. You're just gonna be somewhere in the air, right?
Yeah, I expect that they're just hovering in the air away from us. They're probably going to be more than 500 feet away. So in that case, I'm probably just going to get us a head start now that he's set off
Okay.
a flare and there's shit around us.
All right, so
And
yeah,
I'm
you
going to...
find yourself in the air, and probably another like 200 feet diagonally from you is the airship that you.
All right, we're going to start to fall a little bit, and then I'm going to cast Fly myself and grab him, and we're going to putter our way through. He's a lot less heavy than Vommel was, so I think I'll be okay.
Yeah, no, you're able to successfully make it to the airship. As you land on the deck.
Oops, that was 4th level. I didn't
And
mean to
then-
do that.
No, and then you
There you go, 3rd.
put Thrune down, who's just like super thankful, and he's on his knees, and he's like, "Did you see how many there were? And what is that?" And he points out to the coast, and there's that big billowing storm cloud.
Nothing
That's
is ever
making
good
this
when
way.
you have to ask that question. All right,
that
who's
Where
in
the
charge?
extraction is?
Let's get back to the rest of my team and make sure that the rest of these airships are safe, and at least that way we'll be all together.
Okay, so originally everybody had been further north, kind of where Val had been, and then
Am I supposed to pick up David, Val?
no, he had a little
No,
armada.
I've got my own ship.
All right.
So do you want to head towards the Greenbelt?
I assume we're heading down here towards
Okay.
everyone else.
Is there anything as you kind of cross through? Is there anything that you want to do as you survey the city?
You think we can do any shopping?
If you'd like to land, I believe the market is right here.
All right. Yeah. No, we're good.
All right, so you.
Well, they're
you-
good. Have the time to shop and me and
All right, so I would say at this point everybody's kind of
Thurn, I'm feeling a little
Making their
peckish.
way.
Can we get stop at a bakery or something?
making their way towards the Greenbelt. Do we want to take a break right here? Okay.
I think that's a pretty good
So-
spot to do that.
The airships all start to coalesce on the Greenbelt as you. So some of you coming from the north, those of you coming from the south, you actually see the waves of the hordes start encroaching and piling in through the city streets, and that's where we'll go ahead and take a break.
cool.
All right.
All right. So everybody kind of gets into position as you guys are circling around. At I'd say those kind of flying in from the north, you kind of see this chaos unfolding as starting to like run through the street are these individuals, and all of a sudden this chaos kind of breaks out at the yurt as people are beginning to panic and push their way through. The three ships that are above start yelling as the chaos kind of unfolds as this wave breaks into the streets and runs through it. And at the front of the line, you see what, Valen?
The front of the line. I'm still at the. I'm
You
still
see a
as a
T-Rex?
T-Rex.
Yeah. I was hoping you'd describe yourself.
So I am trying to. I am fighting with a horde of monsters that's trying to overrun us. And trying to get into the landing spot. And as I'm just basically violently shaking them off, trying to get them off my bodies and my tails. And I
Please-
basically use my tails to smash them against the walls on the buildings,
Okay.
and trying to use the rubbles and to form a blockade to to slow them down for flowing into the passageway.
All right. And so to describe a little bit as to what is happening, this incoming horde are the the patrons of the city running full speed. You see those individuals who once walked through these streets selling their wares, tending to their families and their jobs within the city. Your experience with these cursed individuals had been that they were, well, I don't want to get into that, but as you just whip your tail and thrash it through this oncoming crowd of civilians now possessed by whatever this enchantment or force that has overtaken the city. You just see this chaos as these bodies go flying backwards. But you're all right. So that's what you guys are seeing. Is just this dinosaur wreaking havoc on these people. And the screaming is now twofold, right? So you hear this like kind of demonic curdling screams, and then just the terrorized screams of those who've managed to make it all these long months without becoming overtaken by this possession, as they just frantically try to push their way and cut in line and stampede their way through the yurt. The three ships are just casting arrows and bows. A lot of what you're seeing is that they're not directing their arrows. The three ships, they're not directing their arrows at the people themselves, but at means in which they think that they can slow the impending swarm. And like Valen had suggested previously, like casting sheets of ice to make them slip and fall. And I would say, Val, as you're approaching, what is it that you're wanting to do?
So I will work with my the airship that I am on, and I will turn to Arendor and tell him to navigate our airship over to help because everything is basically at where Valen is on the map, correct? And they're going into the they're not going into the funnel. They're coming from the opposite side from all of like the streets and stuff, right?
Right. Right.
Okay. Um, I will have Arendor um, navigate to.
You can kind of move your character to where we're positioning.
I'll probably go as close. Like I'll make the beat line, so I'll go to like whatever's closest for me. Do we know enough about the city's infrastructure and sewer system to know what parts of like roads or streets we could bombard with cannons to create trenches by breaking out the street and then make trenches to like help bolster and slow the advance of the horde.
So you ask the people on your airship, and I would say, yeah, there's actually some people who are pretty familiar with it, and there is a main thoroughway that they kind of point you to that kind of follows this line here. And they say, there's a sewer that kind of runs across this path towards like the middle, like dead square in the middle of the street. And so you and a couple of the airships that you had directed start lining up along that and start pelting that ground. Now, civilian casualties, I wouldn't know if they're combatant casualties, are again also going to be on the rise. So there's this conflict that you see before they ignite the cannons. There had been some hope in their eyes that they could come back to Water's Deep once whatever this plague, had been the cure for this plague had been found, and their ability to recover their loved ones. But the potential to save those around, those still trying to escape, I think is too high, as you see the sorrow on the faces. They start to light those cannons, and this kind of carpet bombing of the main fairway there, as the streets start to collapse in, and you just see that swarm, just that horde of individuals start to plummet into the ground, falling 20-30 feet below. Is there Astrid, and you have a couple airships with you? One thing I want to point out, so kind of hovering behind you on the coastline, there had been a handful of the recovery ships, and then some of those ones that are still too kind of weighed down by the fuel that don't want to get into this battle, and all of them are kind of just being tossed around, and they are panicking as the storm moves in. The conditions of it are far too great, and you kind of see at the head of those ships a familiar face, Lechamp, directing those airships to move away from the coastline. As you just kind of see them start to move even further south, closer to the armory and to quote unquote safety, as they cannot continue to kind of be in this area with the contents of their ship need to remain safe. And so Lechamp is telling them they need to pull out. And so you see as a majority of the armada begins to leave Waters Deep and fly south towards safety. And so now what remains is Astrid and Darfarius, followed by another 2 airships. There are the airship that Valen just left, along with 3 other ones that that had the intentions of rescuing the remaining survivors, and the one that Liam's on. So Astrid, what it is that you want to do?
I think I will kind of Alice side with the airships on our side, and we don't really have a matter of.
Sorry, Emily, you're breaking up. I'm not hearing you, so I assume Viva's not hearing you.
Oh,
either.
sorry. It would help if the mic was facing my face.
There it is.
So I think I'm gonna mirror what Val's doing on the side, and then I don't think I'm gonna collapse the thoroughfare, but I think I am gonna instruct them to go ahead and continue, more or less, like continuing to deter
So
these people from, or deter like the creatures from coming in closer, since I have my boots flying on. I'll jump over the side and drop down kind of in the middle of where everyone is, see if I can just kind of help kind of guide everyone and like make sure nobody is getting trampled and all the good stuff.
Okay, so on which side of the year are you going to be on? Are you going to be in the chaos of the remaining crowd?
Yeah, that's my I'm
Okay.
basically just be up there. That way, if anything breaks through past Valen, I can hopefully take care of it. Hopefully, I can also kind of help guide and figure out what the next steps need to be.
All right. And so the ship you had on started to lower. What is the safest height Darf can fall from?
Raging, any height.
He's
Is
no
he
longer
raging?
raging because he hadn't had anybody attack for a while.
So
Yeah,
Darf
that's a question that I've
Darf
never
will
heard of
then
before.
go ahead.
He can rage
and,
again against the ground.
Take the hammer, and he's gonna
shit.
step over the side, and then just step off the thing, suck into the hammer, let the hammer meteor fall down, and then pop out of the hammer, pick it back up, and from the crater that he left, and then start walking to
Just no yelling at Asher, like, why did you leave me?
He's quite literally just
Truly.
like, where are we going?
Wait.
Yeah, no, I think maybe more perfect. Yeah, so he kind of just
More
And he just like stands there and he's just like doing like the street crossing guide, like trying. You go this way, you go this way, because he doesn't know what else to really do, and just like waving his arms around.
If that's not helping, I mean, Darf, you can go like hit things.
Ah, perfect. He'll go hit.
all right.
He'll go stand behind the T-Rex.
I would say he's now lost interest in whatever Asher's doing. He's getting as close to this.
Is that a dinosaur?
He's gonna try and jump on the back of that dinosaur and like swat all the things off of the dinosaur. It's gonna be Darf with a giant hammer riding atop a dinosaur.
You see, so at this moment, this
Forgot the rule of the polymorph. Do I still possess the mind of my own?
You have the alignment and you know who your friends are, but you
Okay,
currently
good.
have the intelligence of a T-Rex.
Of a dinosaur.
Right.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
Vamo
So I can still
is
tell. Mhm.
standing at the precipice of the storm, and he's just hold steadfast in his just his own will, and he looks back at his friends, and this lightning bolt cracks as it kind of hits and lights up the sky, and he just sees the silhouette of this T-Rex and Darfarius with a hammer on its back. Vamo, what is it that you'd like to do?
No, same plan, I guess. Really, I'm not as impressive of a T-Rex, but I have a couple of spells that can definitely light up the night.
All right.
So I guess just to make sure I understand correctly, they're kind of like bunched up, right?
Who?
What we're fighting? Like you said, I heard they're like hordes, right?
It's a horde of like the possessed civilians. I would say that you keep this in mind. Through this adventure, you've come across multiple people who have fallen victim to this possession.
It's usually someone controlling them.
The first of which was Dandelion.
Mhm.
And then more recently, Umar Thune, and the other guy. All of which you were able to reverse. Their humanity remains. Beneath their surface. And I guess you of all people would be aware that that incoming horde are still somewhat the innocent individuals of the Sword Coast.
Okay. Well, then I only have so many dispel magics, but the goal is to. Last time we found a big un that seemed to be controlling everything. I can't dispel magic on dozens of people. I don't have mass dispel. I don't know if that's even a spell anymore. But
so when you helped save the last one, you cast it on an individual, and he was able to like vomit and get rid of what it is that was inside of him.
Yep.
What you've ascertained, especially from your particular, is that they're also checking their eyes, and they had mentioned that like there had been something like some webbing, some indication that through the iris that they're possessed individually by whatever this was. So I would say that it may be incorrect to say that there was a big bad.
I got you. All right. Well, then I will spend as many spell slots as I can trying to pull people out of it. If it's actually dispel magic only, then I can do 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 people, assuming that my lower level spells work. But he would prefer to save people than not. And
I have removed.
yeah, I have removed curse, but it's not. I don't know if that's gonna do it.
Okay.
Like that's the thing that I don't know. Like I have lesser restoration and a couple other spells, but I don't. From what we've learned, like what he's gonna try to do is kind of learn, like grab the person, first cast resistance on them, which gives them resistance to like different things, and then try to pull it out of them. So he's gonna try to because he does have the sage background. He's actually not an idiot, shockingly enough. He's going to try to like understand what they're dealing with, so we can start putting together something. But his goal is not to kill people first. That is not ever not true. This particular enemy, he's not murder first, ask questions second. Because, they're not dragon cultists.
Okay.
So I will happily spam.
So you're gonna kind of leave. So you had kind of gone towards the storm, and now you're gonna turn your back to it, start headed towards the crowd.
Yeah, it's like that's a higher priority. Nothing's coming through. So I will try to save people. I need to go back to what his actual purpose is, to saving people.
Okay. All right. So you just start to kind of just put your head down in that rain and run back towards being able to stem this tide, this oncoming storm, is maybe something you cannot do on faith alone, and you decide what it is on the ground level that you can do. And so you turn your back on the storm and you just head down, start barreling back towards the crowd as they're start pouring in through the yurt. Physically, can this thing collapse?
The
It lasts for 24 hours. Unless you have a
Right.
disintegrate spell, it's not going to be harmed by anything.
Okay.
or dispel magic. I
Nope.
guess.
They said dispel magic will not work on it.
Oh, never mind.
All right. And so you just so you head towards it, and there's an airship that starts to kind of take off, and as it's full, and you just see people kind of like hanging onto the sides of it, as they are doing whatever they can to extract. As another airship kind of pulls in. So there are one airship, there's a couple there, and there's maybe only 2 more airships that can pick up people. Collectively, what is it you all want to do?
I mean, I would say probably get everybody who's going through the yurt, get through it onto the ships so that we can take off and leave, right?
We don't have time.
Like we're trying to extract we're trying to extract who we can.
Yeah.
To be clear on what you were telling Bommel or Ben, if we were to take a few minutes to think about it, we know the infected are infected and being controlled by somebody, but we don't know who it is or what their distance is or where they are in this chaos. And the chances of us finding them and then doesn't really mean that we're saving these people. Correct?
I don't understand the last part.
Yeah, I get lost. In
We
that
only
one,
got
too.
we only got 2 ships worth of space left to, like, we're not gonna be able to, even if we save them, we don't have nowhere to put them. Right? We have to leave them here?
I don't think you can.
We can't save everyone. Is
It is
that what you're
dawning
saying?
on you. It is dawning on you that you cannot save everyone.
Okay.
The best we can do is just grab whoever we can and just get the hell out of here to
Shut up, dinosaur.
evacuate.
All I heard is rah, 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 rah. Those of you on the ground, you start to see the encroachment from the pitted, the trenches as the swarm starts to press the break. This is World
I mean,
War
of
Z.
the people that were in general like funnel to get evacuated, how close are we to getting that initial goal of people out? If that makes
There's maybe 100 people left.
Why don't we? And that's the people that are
On the other side of the year.
on the side of the yurt hat that
Yeah.
have not gone through PSA.
Yeah.
What if we put one of our ships on that side, forego the checking for the moment, keep them, isolated on one of our other ships, because an airship can handle 100 people. Get them onto the ship, and then you can fit it's like a boat. You can fit
I
100
don't think
people
you're
on a
even
boat.
asking. I think you and Erendor swoop in on your boat. On your
Okay.
airship.
We'll grab the last of the civilians that we can get here, and then get all of our airships out of this area back to safety. We will keep people on the airship that me and Arendor are on. I'll keep an eye on as much as I can. If I can get Vommel up to me as well, to have him on our ship to continue to be a cleanser on our ship, since he's been handling it this entire time and he knows the best signs and the best methods to help. He can work on our ship, while the ones who've been cleansed and been through the checking can go, or should have already been loaded onto the other ships. And we'll split it that way, and we'll try and head back to wherever our rendezvous was outside of Waterdeep.
All right. So as you swoop in, you let down these ladders to try to collect as many people as, and it is absolute chaos as the panic is set in, and they are clawing and ripping at each other, and maybe 25 are able to board the ship before just the panic of them have torn those rope ladders to shreds. You see several of them fall. You guys are like 20 feet, 30 feet on the air, so they are hurt, but didn't splatter on the rocks or anything. But the evacuation isn't as successful as you want, even though, just because of the pure panic of it all. Vammel barrels through the yurt as the few remaining people load up on the ship. As he kind of barrels through it, he finds himself, with about 70-ish people who quote unquote were uninfected. Val, you pull off in your airship with 25.
And these are the 25. These 25 are ones that we don't know. Correct.
Correct. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Would that number increase if I had, I guess.
I've done what I've done what I can.
Because I could have at least thrown a couple there with the boots, but it's not.
Well, there are a couple more ships that are, like you said, that have been bombing the streets, and so maybe you have 2 more ships in the vicinity.
I mean, getting the airship to fully land is not going to be
Not without a potential.
not going to be doable.
Swarmed by the horde itself. So you have
What is the ratio of ability to throw versus strength? Like, can I just start throwing people onto the ships? Literally, throwing people?
Don't think so.
Okay.
Really quick, I just want to say that I am going to cast Protection from Good and Evil on Erendor. Just in case
Okay.
it tries to show up and infect him in a way. I'm just going to use that. Keep him safe while I'm trying to help keep it else.
Am I the only one to hear Devin breaking in, breaking out?
Yeah, he does.
Sorry, I clearly was not next to my mic enough. I'm going to cast this Protection from Good and Evil on Erendor to try and keep him safe, uninfected.
Got it.
Liam, you have one of the few remaining airships.
All right, there's a logistical problem. We can hand away with if you want to, but I don't know how we all are communicating right now. If we don't have like an easy way to all communicate right now, which I don't think we do, then I think the best thing to do would be, I mean, I'll just see what everyone else is doing. If we're picking up people, then I'm just gonna swing by and pick up people.
Okay, so you're gonna swoop in. This is going to be the last attempt to get anybody off the ground.
Yeah, I don't really
Okay.
have anything else I can add.
You're on a much smaller ship than the previous ones that had been tasked with hauling goods, the ones that have been tasked with rescuing the civilians, the ones that have been tasked with possibly taking out the armory, whatever had been recovered from the
Sure.
armory. So
Would
this is a
does it look like Valen or anyone else needs a wall of fire anywhere? Otherwise, I feel like I'm just murdering people is all I'm good for right now.
How many more charges of Dimension Door do you?
I have no. So Dimension Door is a once a day cast from my cloak. I can
Okay.
Dimension Door burn my. I can burn 4th level spells for it.
Okay.
And currently I have all my 4th level spells up, but I'm holding that for other things if necessary.
Okay.
So effectively, I've got 3 Dimension Doors or just 3 4th level spells.
all right. I guess so. You pull yourself down. What is
Oh,
it? that
yeah,
you-
Sorry. So just to reiterate, I only can move one person at a time with me on Dimension Door. Is there something you were thinking?
No. Well, I was thinking like, depending on what happened, we could Dimension Door people onto the boat. I'm just trying to get as many people onto the ship as possible.
I can stay
'cause-
behind. I mean, what I can do is I could stay behind for Valen, and Darth, and get them onto the ships if they're last. So like, I could be the last one on the ship. Like, I can hop off. Like, me being on the ship isn't as valuable as me probably being off the ship to get them on the ship.
Okay.
Right? If those ships leave now, then they're not going to have a way to get on it. So I can get them.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do that.
Yeah. I'll at least get them.
I've got Fly. I've got Dimension Door. We can have a flying T-Rex. We should be able to get out of here.
What about?
I got Vortex Warp as well.
Getting... So if I mean, we're gonna have to just drop whatever we can rope wise and ladder-wise to get as many people onto this boat as possible.
Mm,
But, I mean, slow going.
yeah, I don't think we have anything else we can do. Again, I can
I can't-
stall. I can stall for
I'll-
time with wall with the for my staff. I can cast wall of
We don't
fire
have any
if
more
we.
ships. Like, I think that's the biggest holdup at this point. Well, not holdup, but like,
Limiting factor.
yeah.
Get who we can, and we'll go.
Yeah.
The only
I'm gonna.
thing. So I will do one, because I'm fading, and I want you guys to keep going, because this will take up Vamal's time. He will pray. Like, whatever he can't save, he will pray. He will pray to Bahamut. He will pray to Quetzalcoatl. And I will say that prayer in a second, but I am trying to do a divine intervention. Just, even if it's giving the people who were taken, a clean death. Free will is the most important thing to him. So, alright, let me phrase this prayer right. For the divine spark that resides within us all, with the free will given by the platinum scales, I call to you all those souls that have been bound by darkness. Hear my voice. Hear the passion. Hear freedom's call. If not, join the song of ages and be free in that release. And I'll just take his warhammer and pound it.
T100.
Yep.
15 or below.
Nope. Oh well. I tried.
All right.
That was beautiful, though.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it's the role playing. But it doesn't matter if it doesn't work. The point is to do what your character would do. I want you guys to keep going, but I'm crashing out. 100%.
Yeah, I have about 6 minutes left. I just need you guys to figure out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll end this here at the hour, but I just need you guys to kind of figure out what it is that you're gonna do, because, like
Yep.
it's been stated, not everybody's gonna.
Gonna make it out of here.
I guess we'll, drop the rope ladder. Astrid will just start grabbing people literally by the collar with their flutes of flying. Take as many people, like one person in one hand, one person in another, as fast as you can. And just like fly up and down between the two for as long as possible.
You're able to get 2 people. This is gonna be kind of a one action
Okay.
situation.
Then I will grab as many people as I can and
This dramatic
Fly
music
to
is
the
killing
ship.
me.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. If there's any innocents that are going to be caught up and killed and there's no chance of them dying, he will use Firestorm. He would rather people die free than taken over,
Wow.
which is the most heart-wrenching decision he has to make. But if he doesn't kill them, we will have to fight them again.
yeah.
So
in
Llama
that
will make it.
chaotic circle of those trying to push through the yurt, it starts to spiral and engulf those that remain. Darfarius has leapt off the back of the dinosaur and pulled himself onto one of the hanging lines from the airship.
How long does polymorph last for?
I think it's about pretty much done very closely.
I think it's an hour, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's been standing out there fighting off the hordes for like before we
Yeah.
showed up.
I
So I
know.
would say, Valen, you're now.
Concentration up to an hour. All right, I'll drop wall of fire to give him a chance to reprieve,
Okay.
and then you can start backing away. Because I mean, if we're dropping firestorm and not worrying, like people can run, hide, do whatever, but they know that the gates are being closed at this point.
And seeing basically seeing the fires dropping in front of him and making the blockade. Basically Valen raises a dinosaur's head, and then see a lot of like basically the airships are just coming by, closing in, and then so he then quickly turned the direction towards the coast, where to the evacuation direction is.
You make it onto the last like respite of ropes that are being hung off of Liam's airship. There are a couple of individuals that are still kind of like dangling on as the airship tries to pull away. Vamel, you're also holding on to like a rope trying to climb your way up.
Yep.
Behind you, as you guys kind of like drift off, you see this wall of fire ignite, lighting up the cities. You see the horde start, just like this wave of people still crashing against the barricades and the trenches and this wall of fire, and then just the chaotic screaming of those that have been engulfed in the storm. As you guys make your way upside the ropes, Liam,
I'm gonna be
on.
I'm gonna make sure
Okay.
everyone else gets on before I get on.
Okay, so the rest
I
of
can
your
hold
team-
off the hordes in the meantime, if
The rest of
it
the
comes
team-
up to that.
Yeah. Well, the rest of your team is pulls himself on the neck, and you're helping each of the those civilians kind of up, as Vamel, I'm assuming, is helping everybody kind of get ushered below deck so you can
Yep.
cast your stuff on them.
There is
Liam-
no hordes are getting close to the ships at this point, correct?
No, you're the last remaining ship, and you're now 50 feet above everything. So you're
Okay, I'm good to get onto the ship then. Okay, I
You're
can
on
either.
the ship.
Oh, you said I got on the ship. Okay,
You were on the ship, yeah. And
All right, no
you're-
worries.
You're pulling the last civilian up and over the edging. As you pull her up and you kind of look out at just the decimated ruins now of Waters Deep. And that's when you look down at your hand, and grasped is this palm that's bent so awkwardly around yours. And that's where we're going to end tonight.
I'm pushing them off with me. I don't know. Are they on? Could
Nope, that's where we're ending.
No,
Stop that shit.
Nope.
Ah.
Glad I logged in. Thank you for dealing with me being late. I cannot
All
wait
good.
for the next section.
No
I appreciate
worry,
you
man.
did it. That was
all
I-
my stuff.
You
is
powered
missing.
through, man. You powered through, and it gave us a very beautiful blessing.
you made
And then I
a
murdered a bunch of innocent people.
Yeah,
hell of
that's-
a decision, man.
I don't think we had a choice, given how infested the entire
No,
city
we didn't.
were.
But that's why he's a war priest.
I was about to say that's some very Val shit of like no matter what it like survival is the goal.
Mhm.
Survival of whatever you can save.
Yeah.
It's not everything, but something.
Dude, it did not.
Good night,
load that
everybody.
second- whatever.
Good
All right,
night.
good night,
Good
man.